Tzu Chi volunteers in Mozambique distribute cash cards to the people affected by the landfill collapse. We meet a senior nurse who has won the National Nursing Professional Outstanding Award. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In February, there was a landfill collapse in Mozambique, and many people lost their homes and families. The local Tzu Chi volunteers headed to the disaster zone to distribute cash cards to help the survivors in getting their basic necessities.
All you need is an open space and an audience. Then a play is put into motion. A mother of 5 is hard at work raising her children, while her husband steals all her earnings to buy alcohol. This reflects the problems faced by some families in Mozambique. Therefore, Tzu Chi volunteers are trying hard to share positive experiences of a marriage where love and respect is at the core.
I love you guys. You guys love me. We might not be able to be with each other every day, but our hearts are all connected.
Mozambique's landfill collapsed in February, and many of the people lost their homes and loved ones. The distribution of cash cards established Tzu Chi's honest and authentic approach to disaster relief. Buses took them to the grocery stores, and they can directly get what they need.
I would like to go buy some household appliances. I need to find things that make my house feel like a home.
All the way, both volunteers and disaster survivors were excited and hopeful for a better future. The volunteers led the pack, making sure people were standing in line at the market. Other than having the basic necessities met, the disaster survivors would also like to have a stable shelter.
Because we received cash cards, I decided to buy some wooden boards. I wanted to be able to build a shelter and protect my family.
"14 years ago, Langelo Tabete attended a primary school in South Africa built by Tzu Chi, and now she's a student at Hualien Tzu Chi University. She's currently participating in drum and bell rehearsals for the upcoming Tri-Celebration ceremony.
Practicing for the upcoming Tri-Celebration ceremony is a young South African girl named Langelo Tabete. Through this experience, she has really learned about the sutra verses by doing. During the Mother's Day concert event, a video of when she was in the primary school built by Tzu Chi back in South Africa appeared. The video captured the moment when she came to Taiwan, showing her gratitude to Master Zheng Yan. She came to Taiwan for her university studies and is so grateful for the ongoing love and care from her Ida father and mother. She also thanks her grandmother back in South Africa for raising her.
When I was little, there was always one question that I didn't like. It was when they asked about my mother's information. Every time I became very sad. But my grandmother was always my rock, supporting me through all the heartaches. She always told me if I didn't want to go to school alone, she could accompany me.
She grew up without love from her parents, which I can identify with because this is the same situation that I experienced. I didn't have a mother when I was young. I know that a mother's love is very important and it's a very precious gift to have parents, and we should be very filial to them. We should all love children as a way to repay our parents' love.
The singer Gao Yuan was also invited to participate in this concert by Tzu Chi volunteers. This famous song by Zhuang Nu reminds children to remember their parents and act in a filial manner.
In the aftermath of several disasters in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers went to the hardest hit areas and conducted distributions. Now every year, so many survivors from years before are now volunteers. The Buddha Day ceremony is a special occasion where they can showcase what they've learned from the volunteers' love and care.
The venue was filled with tons of survivors from Typhoon Katsana, and for many, it was their first time attending the Buddha Day celebration. Every participant was disciplined and listened to all the details given by the volunteers. Everyone worked together as one entity.
A state of quietness and clearness, the ultimate tranquility within oneself.
In the crowd, you can clearly see the search and rescue team members that helped out during the Typhoon Kasana crisis. They come back every year to participate in this special occasion with Tzu Chi volunteers.
Enjoying the activities of Tzu Chi.
We want to be a part of the Tzu Chi activities because we have very similar values.
3,000 plus people gather at the local gymnasium to give back their PET bottle coin banks in order to help more people. Buddha's birthday and also Mother's Day is a very special occasion, especially for 64-year-old Maria Bajawa, because this is the first time that both her daughters are giving her the feet washing ceremony.
We rarely see each other, so I was ecstatic to see both of them by my side today.
At the annual celebration, the local government officials are always present.
To our dear Dharma, Master Cheng, thank you very much for all that you've done, not only to San Mateo, not only to the Philippines, but to the entire world. And thank you for teaching us each day the value of love and compassion.
The Buddha Day ceremony in Marikina never ceases to surprise us year after year.
请合掌。
In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. All my heart is filled with sincere prayer. From all corners of the world, let us join our hearts and pray for a world of harmony and peace. In my heart.
This was all made possible due to the disaster relief missions in 2009 when Typhoon Kansana hit hard in the Philippines. The bond between Marikina and Tzu Chi was forever created.
这些人很自动自发，愿意配合着我们，为了整体的一个美。所以我是觉得，就是上人的一个法来引领我们做出这种庄严的一个图腾，庄严的一个呈现，就是上人的妙法在。
Today we'll introduce you to a nurse in the Division of Psychosomatic Medicine of Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, Show Yan. She has worked as a nurse for 20 years, mainly assisting patients with mental health care. She often makes visits for homebound patients to give them medications to improve their moods. Her dedication has won her the National Nursing Professional Outstanding Award.
现在其实你也把身体
Now you need to set your health as your priority and come to class every day, because this will allow your body condition to be stabilized. I'm just worried about the pressure.
From her interactions with the psychiatric patients, she has found their likable innocence while also found her aspiration to be part of the mental health care professionals.
我觉得他们其实都很天真诶。
I feel they're all very innocent, and they are all very willing to cooperate with people. I just need them to trust me. This way, the arrangement and care I do for them can really help them improve. This is the true mutual interaction and feedback.
互动跟回馈。
His home caregiver hasn't come to help him take a shower yet. He normally comes around noontime.
Some psychiatric patients are not only partially paralyzed and emotionally unstable, they can also be aggressive. Han Shouyan makes house calls along with doctors every 2 weeks to help patients who are not able to go to the hospital. Although the patient cannot speak, Han Shouyan's skillful questions gives him confidence.
Why do we need to ask the patient which side he wants to be injected? Through this way, we can increase their opportunities to be in control, hence improving their inner confidence and dignity.
She does work out of the kindness of her heart. She always goes the extra mile to help her patients, like helping them cut their nails or giving them psychological support.
Going to the patient's house, Han Shouyan is not just there to give injections and major blood pressure, but she really sees the need of the patients from every minor details.
64-year-old Tan Ben Hak of Singapore suffered from mental illness due to his child's sudden passing. After medical treatment and the companionship of Tzu Chi volunteers, he gradually opened his heart.
At 3:30 in the morning, 64-year-old Tan Ben Hak already begins his busy day.
I never thought about not coming because my feeling is that I have lots of customers and I want to cook for them. I feel very grateful for this. I must work for my whole family and I'm happy and very delighted to do this.
This happiness didn't come easy. In 2005, his son was diagnosed with leukemia. After successfully recovering thanks to a cord blood transplant, unfortunately, the following year he tragically died in a car accident. This was a heavy blow to Tan Ben Hak and sent him into a serious depression.
When he lost his son, he couldn't let go. He constantly thought about his son. He would say, "My son is so smart, why is he gone?" He would always complain and kept this feeling bottled up in his heart. This led him to develop a very bad temper.
The doctor said I had developed second-stage schizophrenia and would need to take medication.
When Tan Ben Hak's son was ill, Tzu Chi volunteers gave him aid for medical expenses. When he became stable medically, he no longer needed the medical aid. The financial support ended, but Tzu Chi volunteers continued to care for him to help him not slip back into a depressive state.
We would always accompany him when he joined the Water Repentance Sutra rehearsals along with his family of 4. Though he didn't have much time, he always tried his best to make it. The family included his oldest son, youngest son, and his wife.
These volunteers are very sincere, and it's not like they are wearing a mask. It's like the Jinsi aphorism which says, "Never let afflictions stay in the heart. Be busy at work, but not at heart."
Now he is able to overcome the pain of his loss and has used this experience to grow stronger. He now makes donations in his son's name to spread ordinary love into great love for humanity.
In the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis, Tzu Chi volunteers have been carrying out charity mission in Myanmar. They recently visited a family whose children returned to school with Tzu Chi's assistance. In addition, they visited a child whose ill grandmother single-handedly raised him. The Irrawaddy River water has irrigated the land, which is part of the endless green fields. Once this narrow mud road after crossing the field, and cars cannot go through it. This is the road leading to Wang Chi's home. Despite the 40-degree heat, Wang Chi quickly heads back to his home after joining Tzu Chi's Jingsi aphorism class. He did not pause as there are people waiting for him.
As it is the Burmese New Year, Master Jung-Yan wishes your family well.
Wang Chi's grandmother is his only relative, as his mother died and his father is missing. His grandmother who raised him suffered a stroke. Therefore, as a 10-year-old, he was forced to become mature at an early age. In the past, his grandmother made a living by selling beans. However, she lost her source of income after suffering a stroke. Before Tzu Chi volunteers reach out to them, they receive help from the neighbors. Despite that, they sometimes went hungry.
Sometimes it is hard to wake him up for school. I hope he studies well, but he takes time to play.
Wang Chi's name in Burmese actually means being surrounded by love. However, the reality is the boy is afraid of losing his grandmother. The 10-year-old boy faces the threat of his grandmother dying from illness or old age. If his grandmother passes away, he'd be left alone in the world. When we asked about his parents' picture, we were told there is none. The entire house has only one color. The most colorful items are the framed award certificates. Award certificates are extremely obvious in these poor families, as these children cherish the chance to study. In this family, the two children return to school with Tzu Chi's assistance.
This red envelope is given by the Tzu Chi Foundation. You can use the money to buy some necessities.
I did not use all of them. I spent some on offerings to the Buddha.
Stepping on the bamboo strips, one hears the cracking sound. During raining seasons, they have to endure storm and rain. In the crude house, when receiving Tzu Chi's New Year presents, the mother and children are filled with joy.
As Master Jung-Yan said, our time is running out. Therefore, I must seize the opportunity to give of myself.
Despite suffering from poverty, these people sympathize with other less fortunate people and are generous in giving. Their acts of compassion have demonstrated that giving is not the privilege of the wealthy. In Pingdong, one family had to rely upon their daughter to be a sort of second mother to the family. This is because the father suffered a spinal injury 11 years ago, requiring the mother to spend a lot of time in the hospital. After raising her sisters, she even cared for the children of relatives.
When Na Wenxuan is at home, she is responsible for doing all the family's laundry. Often before finishing the housework, the cousins are already coming over. She's very used to helping these two youngsters with their homework because she has taken care of them since they were very little. You can see them in these old pictures.
Before, when their mother wasn't here, they would cry. I thought they might be hungry, so I made some formula for them to drink.
Wenquan took care of this cousin when she was only 3 months old. Now the girl is already 11 years old. Wenquan cared for many relatives and earned the confidence of other relatives, who asked her to care for their children as well. She likes to care for toddlers, a skill she developed 11 years ago when her father suffered a spinal injury. Her mother had to care for him over a 1-year period at the hospital, leaving her care to be looked after by relatives who helped. Nonetheless, she was primarily responsible for the care of her 2 younger sisters.
Because my father was in the hospital, I was afraid that I might not see him again. I would have nightmares. I miss my father very much, but I couldn't show it. Later, I will have to care for my sisters. How did I show my emotions? When I was alone and going to bed, I would hold cry into the covers.
At the time, she was just a 4th grader, but she had to set a good example of being brave and independent for her sisters.
我觉得姐姐像第2个妈妈。为什么？因为很多事都姐姐在帮忙。
After her father returned home, he continued to suffer from spinal problems and wasn't able to stand up for many years. Their mother was too busy to handle it all, so Wenquan helped out too.
Sometimes I can't even open my hands, so I will call the children to my bed and help me open my hands.
There was a time when I helped my dad change his diapers. Can I do this? Of course. I changed the diapers on many babies. It's the same thing.
At such a young age, she helped her mom care for the whole family. Tzu Chi volunteers were very touched and have been caring for the family for a decade now.
I was really moved. I thought about what a strong young woman we have here. The whole time accompanying them, we all had great confidence in this family.
When my sisters do something wrong, adults will always blame the oldest. But this was the family that I was born into, so I have to accept it.
Being able to contribute as well as persevere through difficult family pressures is a great help and support to her hard-working mother.
She really helps comfort me. Without this daughter, I really don't know how I would have been able to go on.
My oldest daughter really understands a lot of things. She was sent from the heavens. As the saying goes, fortune favors fools.
Wenquan is only 17 years old, but it's like a second mother to his family. It is only because of her unfazed devotion that this family is able to overcome the father's accident. She gives the family hope for the future.
To celebrate Mother's Day, DaAi kindergarteners in Taipei held an event to thank their mothers. They washed their mothers' feet and handed them handmade cards expressing their love. We're leaving with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.